at the moment. And we're going to say a big good morning to Mark Billy Billingham. Good morning, Billy. Is it Billy or
Good
Mark?
morning, and thanks for the invite this morning, Tom.
You're very welcome. And we've got you on because you're coming into the Torch Theatre tomorrow evening to talk about, we were just talking off air, your trials and tribulations, the highs and the lows. You just want to give a bit of an overview as to what people can expect.
Yeah, it's a journey basically, and it's my journey. I don't tell people how to live their life, but I explain about how I live mine and all the lessons I learned growing up on a council estate, the West Midlands, into a poor family. I got into gangs very early. I was thrown out of school. I was almost killed at the age of 15, and then almost died in another accident at 15 again. And into finding the light for me, which was the military. How and why I joined the military, what I learned through the military, gone through the parachute regiment, and then onto the SAS and becoming a leader in the SAS, decorated by the Queen as well. So putting my life really back on the tracks and doing the right thing. And then leaving the military to becoming the head of security for, the top A-list in the world. And then going from one side of a camera, as in protecting people, then to ending up on the other side of the camera. But also there's a massive part which a lot of people don't know about, which is about my charity work. And that's not something I've got into since I've become known on the TV. That's something I've been doing for over 12 years. Oh, wow. And people are very surprised by what comes out about that sort of stuff and understanding charity. Yeah. And then on to, where we are today with SAS Who Dares Wins and how that came about, and or what's happening with that sort of side of the world. So it's a long old journey. There's a lot of lessons to that I've learned, and they're not all good, but they're definitely worth sharing.
Because you mentioned there that lessons, they're not all good, but you learn from all the good and the bad ones, don't you? And sometimes the bad experiences lead to higher learning anyway, don't they? There's always a positive depending on how you interpret information. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's an absolute fair point, Tom. And there is, and that's life, and that's what we think. We've lost our direction in life nowadays. Nobody tells the truth of how difficult life's going to be. We all try to flower it up and blame somebody else for things that go wrong. First thing you're doing in life is accept your mistakes, and you're going to make them. And this is where I start off, but I made some bad mistakes, and I was fortunate and lucky. And I think it's worth sharing. The reason being is because, kids are and people are going to make their mistakes. But by listening to somebody that's been there and done it, hopefully you won't get to that position and make the same stupid mistakes. We all make mistakes. And I always say, it's a mistake, but if you keep repeating it, it's a problem. Yeah. So that's why it's worth sharing. And when somebody says to you, "Oh, don't touch that bit there, that's really hot," we all do it. We all just get our hands as close as we can, But yeah, these lessons I learned are more than hot. So you don't need to be putting your hands wet in the places I did and doing the things I did. So it's worth sharing that, especially for the younger generation. And actually, it's which is strange. I find a lot of my age and older generation come to me and say, "Wow, that was really inspiring. I took a lot from that." So.
Yes. That's fantastic. Yeah. And so you mentioned there about the getting involved with gangs and those mistakes and like near death at 15. How did the military come about?
The military came about because while that rogue element was in me at a very young age, my brother had joined the cadets, with the local cadets. So I got asked to go and do that, and I did. I really gravitated towards it immediately. I understood what I was being taught. I understood discipline, and it was the old-fashioned discipline back then, where you stepped out of line, you got a good slap across the back of the legs, or you got put in your place and screamed and shouted at, because that's life. That's the way life is. And I understood there was a reason for it. It wasn't bullying. It wasn't anything other than doing the right thing in my eyes. We've lost all that direction in life, and people have lost respect and discipline. But that's what I did. I gravitated towards what I got in through my brother. He got me into it, and it was great. And I remember looking at all the guys older than me when I joined. They were all moving on to go into the military, and they all went off to the Falklands War and places like that, came back and shared their experiences with us. And I remember at that age that I was about to join myself anyway, and I was listening and thinking, this is definitely what I want to be doing.
Yeah. And then some of those methods you would go on to use on our television screens, essentially. But how did you find that transition from military life to civilian life and trying to bridge that gap?
Very difficult. I ain't going to lie. And any military guy that's done any time in the military, I'm talking, I did over 27, 28 years, you forget how institutionalized you really are. You take a lot for granted with the military. You know, all right, we do a difficult job at a difficult time, but that's what we're trained and paid to do anyway. And when you leave, the biggest problems most soldiers have is just the everyday living. You know, paying your bills, going to the doctors, registering for paying certain things, and that was the difficulty I had. You know, I thought I could just walk into a doctor's and make an appointment and that's it, done. And it's not like that. Whereas in the military, it is. Everything's there for you. You know, your doctors, your dentists, your travel, your bed, your food. It's all there. And then when you leave and become a civilian, now you've got to pick up all that and organize it all yourself. And we ain't that good at it. We find it difficult. We struggle with it. I did.
Yeah. And of course, those people that haven't been in the military, they then get used to their processes and their routines. And that's why programs like SAS Who Dares Wins, when we're put out of our comfort zones, is such a big revelation to a lot of people that take part and those that observe it. And in fact, Helen Marie's been in touch as well. So I love the program, but I don't think I would cope well on the show. I did a muddy assault course on the weekend. And even though I did it all, I came last and complained every step of the way. I'd be a liability in the SAS. And
you say that, but we don't give it a chance to moan. We make you move. We make you do things that you ain't going to expect you're going to do. And that's what sometimes people do. People don't know themselves. You probably don't know yourself. You think, oh, that's me done. I'm at the back. But I'll tell you what, we could show you different. And like that comes with a price of being screamed and shouted at and, you know, pushed in a hard direction. But it's all for the right reasons. It's not to hurt or break anybody. It's, listen, to show you. If your mind accepts that you're going to do it and you're going to try it, your body will follow, even when it's aching and you know you're in a bit of pain. And then at the end of it, you go, wow, I have done that. I didn't realize I could do that.
Yeah.
So,
and my takeaway from Helen's comment here is that she still finished it. And that's the key thing, isn't it? Like, what's been the biggest transformation of individuals that you've seen on the show where you've thought, oh, this is going to be a tough slog, but they still do it?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we're not looking for the fastest and the fittest. You know, some guy will turn up, you know, looks like Mr. Body Sculpture and goes to the gym 50 times a day and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, okay, great, well done. Well, now put this house on your back. Now get up when it's cold and wet. Now get your wet clothes on. Let's see how your mindset works. We're not bothered about the shape of your body and what you look like. And for every single person who turn up, you know, like Ella and everybody else probably looks around and went, wow, they look fit, they look this. We all do it. We judge everyone else. We're not interested in that. We're interested in you as an individual. We're going to take you as a raw product, strip you back to who you really are, and then show you that you can get up and you can move forward when the odds are against you, and you can do things that you didn't, you know, because there's an old saying that we use, you know, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I mean, to a degree that's true, but to a degree that's nonsense. Nobody likes being uncomfortable. But as long as you're saying to you in your head, you know what, this is only a passage in time. This ain't going to last forever. And you accept it. And once you accept it, it's going to be painful. It's going to be cold. It's going to be uncomfortable. You'll be amazed what you can do. And we work on every single individual to get to that point. Every single one of them. You know, and we look at everyone and go, you know, we know that person probably ain't going to get to the end because the course is hard. It's got to be the standards. But we know we can get that person further than they probably thought they could get. And we will.
Yeah. And you've got a series of books as well. Some of the titles I can't say on the radio, unfortunately, but it follows that same theme of if you read this book, you're going to understand yourself as an individual that little bit more. And mindset is very important to you, isn't it? More so than probably the physical element of who we are. It's about what we think and how we move forward.
Yeah, and that, like I say, my first book, my autobiography, it explains exactly that. You know, I skim across my life. And when I did my talks tonight in Newport and down at the talks tomorrow, and really the in-depth side of all of it is in the book. It's there because I capture everything that, you know, I went through, what I learned, and it's all about the mindset. And there's so many examples of why it become how you learn it is the mindset. And I was a very, very fit person when I went into the SAS, and I remember looking around at people that I weren't expecting, and they kicked me. They left me behind, you know, on runs and stuff. I was like, wow, how are you doing this? You look overweight, you look out of shape, you look twice my age. But it was this. It's all about mindset and how and why.
Yeah.
Because you start to believe in yourself, and you know, you do. You push your mind, you push your body, and it gets to the results you want.
Fantastic. And for people that are going to go to the Torch Theatre tomorrow, I think you're in the Lyric in Carmarthen the day after as well, if they can't make tomorrow. What can people expect of an evening with Mark Billy Billingham?
It's probably not what you're expecting. It's not all blood and guts and glory. It's comical, it's fun, it's emotional. I'm on stage for the first half, and I talk for nearly plus of an hour about this life journey. Then we have a break. You get a chance to see all the charity stuff that we're involved in, and if anybody wants to get involved, then there's more than welcome to do that. And then after that, I come out at the break and have photographs with everybody. There's a chance to get photographs and handshake and chat and ask questions. And then the second half is an interview with Mark Llewellyn, and that's got a lot of humour in it, but it opens up a new side of my life that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
And then there's a Q&A where the audience get a chance to ask questions as well at the very end. There's also a raffle. You might meet Alfie the Bulldog if you're lucky. He'll be there. And you might even get to pet him. Yes, it's a great night. It's a fun night for all. And everybody that walks away goes, wow, I wasn't expecting that. That was wonderful.
Yeah, well, Rui Rodriguez is going to be there. He's looking forward to tomorrow night already. And
Awesome.
yeah, you mentioned earlier about this heading up the bodyguard service as well. I'm gonna leave some of the A-listers that you've protected for tomorrow night. We don't want to give too much away here on the radio. So if you haven't already, are there still tickets available for tomorrow?
I believe there are. There's probably not a lot, but
be quick.
Yeah,
be quick
there.
is the message.
We'll squeeze you in. We love everybody. Mark will squeeze everybody in.
Fantastic. What time does it start tomorrow?
It starts be there for 7:30.
Be there for 7:30. Mark Billingham, thank you so much for joining me here this morning on Early Breakfast. I'm going to see if I can nab myself a ticket. It sounds like a really insightful. It sounds really insightful, and mindset is something that I'm a big believer in as well. Like, we can all overcome certain challenges, and it starts up there. And yeah, I wish you all the best. You're in the Riverfront in Newport Gwent this evening, Torch Theatre tomorrow, and the Lyric in Carmarthen the day after. All the best. And yeah, I've added your book to the book list already.
Cheers, Tom.
Thank you so much. We've got Charlie Puth and Light Switch on the way for you now. It's 7:44 on Early Breakfast here on Pure West Radio.